And so the players march into the centre court. And this second men's singles quarter-final is between, in red, Yun Mizutani from Japan, and in black, Zhang Jike of China. Zhang Jike is, of course, the current world champion, and he won that title earlier this year at the World Championships in Rotterdam. And there's his opponent, Yun Mizutani, 22 years of age, currently ranked number 6 in the world. That's the highest position he's ever achieved to date. Of course, he'll be looking to move even higher. The umpire's just doing final checks to the playing area, making sure it's safe, making sure the net's at the appropriate height. Mizutani made the quarter-final of the World Championships. Last 16 of the World Championships in 2009, and was 4th in the World Cup in 2010 in Magdeburg, Germany. Very successful career to date. Runner-up, in the World Cadet Championships in 2003, and runner-up in the World Junior Championships in 2005. A very exciting left-handed topspin player. Plays very consistent on the backhand side, plays with a little bit more power on the forehand side. But there's the world champion playing in black, Zhang Jike. The umpire, Paul Schiltz. From Luxembourg, and Ina Joseph from Latvia will be the assistant umpire, and the players start their 2-minute practice. Zhang Jike was runner-up in the World Cup in 2010 and the Asian champion in 2009. 2 times Chinese national champion, and in fact the Chinese players will go back from these championships in Austria to their own national championships. And what a title that will be to win, both for the men and women. Again, Zhang Jike has been around some time. Was winner of the World Cadet Championships in 2002. Mizutani won the Pro Tour finals in Korea at the end of 2010. And as you can see there, he's a left-handed topspin player, as well as winning the Pro Tour finals in 2010. He won the ITTF event in Hungary in 2010 and in Korea in 2009. Zhang Jike also has 2 Pro Tour titles to his name, China Harmony in 2010 and the German Open in Dortmund this year, when he beat Timo Boll of Germany in the final. The last ITTF Pro Tour event in Suzhou, China, Zhang Jike was the runner-up, losing to teammate Ma Long in the final. So the 2 minutes practice has been completed. The players now are ready to start this men's singles quarter-final. And the players being belatedly introduced to the crowd by the MC.
Auf der anderen Seite, im schwarzen Shirt, aus China,
left-handed,
2010, 2011,
playing in the red shirt.
Ist regierender Weltmeister im Einzel, Vize-Weltmeister 2009 im Mixdoppel, Weltmeister mit der
Introducing the world champion.
Sieger im World Team Cup 2009, 2010 und Sieger der Asian Games 2010.
The players are anxious to start this quarter-final rather than hanging around.
Zhang Jike.
But now the introduction's complete. The players are ready to start.
Paul Schietz aus Luxemburg und Ina Josefsson aus Lettland.
First game, Zhang to serve.
So it's Zhang Jike to serve at the start of the first game. As always, best of 7 games, each game to 11 points.
1-0.
These two have met on 4 previous occasions, and the stats don't look good for Mizutani. All 4 in favour of Zhang Jike. And the last time they met, earlier this year, in the quarter-final of the men's singles in Qatar. And it was a 4-2 victory for the world champion. Although he wasn't the world champion at the time of the Qatar Open.
1-2.
One point each. And now a 2-1 lead for Zhang. You just sense that as Mizutani drifts away from the table to play consistent forehand and backhand topspins, the power of Zhang Jike may just be a little bit too much for the Japanese player. Good start by the world champion. 4-1. Just came across the inside of the ball with the forehand topspin. Mizutani just to give it a little bit of side spin to take it out wide to Zhang's forehand, and then Zhang just looking for too wide an angle with the backhand.
Left, up please, not to the ball. 5-4.
Zhang, very consistent topspins on both backhand and forehand. Zhang Jike beating Bastian Steger in the previous round, and Mizutani beating Germany's Dmitry Ovcharov. Mizutani in fine form in that game, winning 4 games to 0. Powerful topspin into the backhand of Mizutani. Mizutani came up to the table, just trying to give Zhang a little less time. Second serve coming up for Mizutani, 1 point down, 7-8. But a service error at a costly time. Zhang Jike now has a 2 point lead with his 2 serves to come.
10-7.
The backspin not quite lifted sufficiently by Mizutani. 3 game points for Zhang. A lifeline now for Mizutani. He's 2 points down, but he has the advantage of his 2 serves to come. But the serve drifted long. Zhang Jike in with the backhand topspin. First game to the world champion. 11-8. Both players now back to their respective corners. 1 minute for the coaches to give them a little bit of advice. There was the serve that drifted long, the backhand topspin from Zhang Jike. There we see the very loose grip that Mizutani has on the racket. Gives him more acceleration from the wrist for the service. There we have the world champion listening very attentively to the Chinese coach. They'll be happy with the outcome of the first game, 11-8, 1-0 in favour of China. But still a long way to go in this men's singles quarter-final.
Second game, Mizutani to serve.
It's Yun Mizutani to serve at the start of the second game.
Wir begrüßen für ein weiteres Finale heute. Für das Finale
Mistiming the forehand topspin, it caught the top edge, the leading edge of the racket.
Ja, roten Shirt aus Taiwan. Ihr habt beide Startermeister gezwungen. Begrüßen wir gemeinsam Chen Qian. Und auf der anderen Seite aus Japan, ihr ist einer der aufstrebenden jungen Japan-Stars. Begrüßen wir gemeinsam Jin Ueda. Geleitet wird diese Begegnung von Thomas Koker aus Estland und Paul Erbe aus Ungarn.
1-2.
Certainly the topspin to topspin rallies when both players are away from the table. Zhang winning a high percentage of those rallies. Again, it's that powerful forehand topspin. Mizutani's not sure where the ball's going. Zhang has the ability to spray the ball around the table, keeping Mizutani guessing all the time the direction in which he's going to attack.
That's 2-3. 4-2.
Playing that forehand topspin from a cramped position. Mr. Paul Schultz doing an admirable job so far. Zhang Jike looking to gamble there to go round the backhand to play his forehand. We see him step round a little bit early. There he goes. Well spotted by Mizutani, who immediately goes out wide to the forehand. Four points each.
5-4.
3 consecutive points from Mizutani. He leads 5-4. Good spinning return from Zhang. Didn't quite go for the speed that he's previously been generated. He came more up the back of the ball. More spin, less speed. Good variation. That's good retrieving from Mizutani. Eventually the error came from the world champion. He certainly wouldn't back Mizutani in this situation, but he was slightly helped by that net cord. You can see that slight acknowledgement of his good fortune. Good counter topspin from Zhang. Took Mizutani by surprise. He thought he'd done enough with his strong topspin, but it wasn't to be. 6 points each, and a further 6 points having progressed. Both players use the towel, as indeed the rules of the game allow them to do so. The net cord this time favouring the world champion, Zhang Jike. Well placed topspin from Zhang into the body of Mizutani. Zhang now leads 8-6 and has his 2 serves to come. Second serve coming up for Zhang Jike. Mizutani forcing Zhang away from the table. Attacking strong with his own forehand topspin. Excellent rallying. It was the backhand error from Zhang Jike that eventually won the point for Mizutani. But now the world champion with 2, indeed 3 match points. That's a very good forehand topspin down the line to set up the smash. Oh, what a backhand topspin. Stepped into the table, took the ball off the bounce. And you don't see shots like that very often. 11-7. Zhang Jike wins the second game. And Zhang now leads by 2-0. Confirmation of the situation on screen. 11-8, 11-7. Zhang now having completed half the job. He's won 2 games. He has to win a further 2. Some excellent rallies. Very entertaining table tennis. The net cord there from Mizutani gets him back into the rally. And there's that little acknowledgement of the net cord from the Japanese player. But having taken advice now from their coaches for the last 60 seconds, the players are back at the table. And it's Zhang Jike to serve at the start of the 3rd game. It's a great return of serve from Mizutani. The flick. Important to take the ball top of the bounce. Important to keep the wrist nice and relaxed and to hit through the ball. That's exactly what Mizutani did.
Left. 0-1.
Spraying the ball around the table. The 2 extreme angles. Firstly, wide to the backhand, then wide to the forehand. Trying to flick the ball down the line. Just caught the top of the net, flicked it off the end of the table. 2-1. Mizutani still with the 1-point lead.
Fault. 2-3.
Fault serve called. I think serving over the table. Certainly Zhang Jike not questioning the call. Well spotted by umpire Schiltz. The umpires, of course, have a very tough job, particularly with the service. There's so many things for the umpires to watch. Paul Schiltz, they're calling that one right. Mizutani holds his ground again. Just changing his tactics, staying a little close to the table, taking the ball early, trying to put Zhang under a bit more pressure, giving him less time to get in with the big shots. And then when he does, an error. Just caught the top edge of his racket, flew off the edge of the table. And Mizutani now with a 6-3 lead. Error from the world champion. Mizutani dropping away from the table, retrieving, just guiding the ball back on the backhand side. See him again, he's at full stretch, throws the ball a little bit higher on this occasion, but you can see how close to the baseline that was. Looked as though it actually bounced on the white line. So good play from Yun Mizutani. That's wonderful play from both players. Crowd being entertained with some outstanding table tennis here at the Werner Schlager Academy in Austria. Zhang now with his two serves to come. You can see there how loose the grip is. Just holds it between finger and thumb. And now Mizutani reading the direction of the Zhang attacks well. He's able to get into position, returning the ball with a lot of control. And again, the error comes from the world champion. But this time it's a rocket down the line from Zhang Jike to win the point. Great forehand topspin down the line from Mizutani. Steps around quickly, plays it straight down the line. Clenched fist, punches the air. 4 game points for Yun Mizutani of Japan.
7-10.
Mizutani takes the third game by 11 points to 7. The world champion Zhang Jike now leads by 2 games to 1. Confirmation of the scores on screen. Zhang taking the first 2 games 11-8, 11-7, and Mizutani taking the third game 11-7. Certainly Mizutani now anticipating the direction of the Zhang's top spins. A lot better than he did in the first 2 games. You see here now Mizutani's forced away from the table, but Zhang Jike just can't quite penetrate. Wonderful rally, and the players now back out at the table for the start of the 4th game.
4th game, Mizutani to serve. Bravo.
great rally. Mizutani retrieving well. Very reminiscent in style to the great Swedish player Michael Appelgren. Is Jun Mizutani. Appelgren, of course, 3 times European champion. A member of the great Swedish team that dominated the world of table tennis. Late 80s and the 90s. What a team that was. Probably the best player that I've ever seen. Jan-Ove Waldner, Jürgen Persson, Michael Appelgren, Eric Lind, Peter Carlson, to name but a few of what was quite an incredible squad of players. Quite remarkable that a country the size of Sweden, 10 million people, could defeat the might of China, but they did. And at the moment there is nobody threatening significantly the domination of China. Japan in the form of Mizutani and a few younger players. Republic of Korea. Got some very strong young players coming through. Timo Boll, of course, Europe's great hope at the moment. They'll be the ones looking to cause problems for the Chinese next season, and in particular at the Olympic Games, the highlight of next year's events in London.
6-1.
Zhang Jike has already booked his ticket to the Olympics on the basis of his world ranking.
2-6.
And he's joined by the #1 ranked player in the world, Wang Hao. And the 3rd spot will be allocated as and when appropriate. Ma Long putting down a strong marker for that 3rd position. But of course in the team event, doubles plays a significant part, and the Chinese coaches will be looking at all sorts of factors before they make that final selection. Zhang Jike coming across the table to return the short serve on the forehand with the backhand side. We're seeing that more and more from the world's top players. Interesting technique, good use of the wrist when they come across to play the backhand from the forehand side. Peter Carlson, probably one of the first players to exploit the particular technique. But now it's been developed and refined, particularly by the Chinese players. And of course, as a result of that, a lot of players now using that particular stroke. Clever play from Zhang Jike there. Short pushes, then the long push wide to the forehand. Took Mizutani by surprise. Zhang now leads 8-4. Good topspin into the body of Mizutani, 9-4. Zhang Jike now with his 2 serves to come. Good smash into the body of Mizutani. Zhang now with 4 game points. for a 3-1 lead. That was the clever shot. Mizutani having to throw the ball up in the air and consequently paid the price. Zhang with his 2 serves to come. Business end of the 4th game. And Zhang wins by 11 points to 8. And he now leads by 3 games to 1. Mizutani now, of course, has a mountain to climb. He has to win the next 3 games. Whereas the man in black just has to win one of the confirmation situation on screen. Zhang Jike leads by 3 games to 1. Again, the players have 1 minute with their coaches. I think if I was advising Mizutani, I'd be advising him to stay a little close to the table. Don't wander away too much. Okay, occasionally to vary the pace, to vary the trajectory of the ball. But by and large, I'll be looking to stay close to the table, get in with strong top spins, take a few chances. 3-1 down, nothing to lose. So, both players now back out at the table. The first one, Mizutani, followed very shortly by Zhang Jike.
Dreifacher Olympiasieger. Gewann alle Olympiatitel, die möglich sind. Olympiasieger im Doppel 2004 und Olympiasieger im Einzel.
So the players now back at the table, ready to start.
5-facher Weltmeister mit der Mannschaft 2001 bis 2009. 3-facher Asienmeister ebenfalls mit der Mannschaft. Meine Damen und Herren, aus China, Ma Ling.
So the players having to wait for the MC to introduce a game on another table.
Geleitet wird die Begegnung von Marta Shi aus Ungarn und Reika Hosokawa aus Japan.
Not an ideal situation, that's for sure.
Für Sie zur Information, nach dieser Begegnung findet noch die Siegerehrung in den beiden U21-Bewerben statt. Also bitte bleiben Sie noch ein bisschen.
Mr. Schultz keen to get the game underway, doing an excellent job. But obviously the players have to wait for quiet before they can start.
1-0.
Mizutani leads 2-1. There he is, the left-handed topspin player from Japan, 22 years of age, number 6 in the world. Very calm, composed character, Zhang Jike, the world champion. Quite incredible that he'd never played in a World Championships until earlier this year in Rotterdam. Such is the strength of the Chinese team. And of course, what does he do at his first ever World Championships? He wins the men's singles, so it's a good omen for China. He's coming up to his first Olympic Games. And certainly one of the players you would fancy for the men's singles title. Mizutani leads 4-2. Clever play from Zhang down the line with the forehand topspin, then into the backhand, spraying the ball around the table, but full marks to Mizutani. He's working hard. He has excellent footwork. He's covering the whole of the table.
4-3.
Mizutani leads by 1 point. Of course, he has to win this game, and indeed the next two. But first things first, let's concentrate on the fifth game. 6-7. Zhang serving. Top edge of the racket, the ball flies up into the ceiling, towards the ceiling. Overhits the backhand topspin, Mizutani. Just trying a little bit too hard with that one. Mizutani now winning his fair share of the topspin to topspin rallies when both players are away from the table. First half of the game, most of those points were won by Zhang Jike. Not the case now. Good counter topspin by Zhang. Held his ground. Took that topspin on quite early, just before the ball got to the top of the bounce. Heavy backspin on the service, coming underneath the ball. Fast accelerating wrist. Umpire Schultz just keeping his eye on the watch. Again, as indeed he should be. He's keen to keep this game in progress, but of course at the same time respecting the players' right to use the towel every 6 points. You could hear for yourselves there the delight for Zhang Jike. And indeed timeout called by Japan. Interesting time to call timeout when your player faces a match point. Adding a new dimension to the tactics of a game now, the timeout. Fairly recent introduction.
Time.
Often used to break the momentum that's being generated by one player or the other. But the players now back at the table. The situation hasn't changed. It's still match point for the world champion, Zhang Jike.
9-10.
Mizutani with the serve. Two or three great forehand topspins from Zhang on the diagonal. Then he whips one down the line, overhits it. 10 points each. Superb rally. Now it's alternate serving, and it's the first player to win 2 clear points. Zhang to serve first. What a time for a service error. Mizutani now with a game point. Good, consistent topspin from Zhang. 11 points each. Zhang Jike now with the serve. An error with the smash. You back Zhang Jike in this situation, but he smashes the ball into the net. Umpire asking the players to play. And that's a bad service from Mizutani. Drifted way over the sideline. Zhang in with the forehand topspin. That's 2 game points that Mizutani's had. So the score now 12 points each. The players toweling down as a further 6 points have progressed. Zhang Jike with the serve. Oh, it's a good smash this time by Zhang Jike. And indeed he calls timeout. He has his second match point. Ball comes in the air. That's sure whether that's a smile of delight or a smile of relief on the face of Zhang Jike. But there's the 1 minute being timed. So both players back at the table a few seconds early. It will be Mizutani to serve to stay in this quarter-final. Zhang Jike has his second match point. And the serve drifted long, the forehand topspin from Zhang Jike, and the world champion is through to the semi-final to be played tomorrow. He wins the 5th game 14-12, and he wins this quarter-final by 4 games to 1. And there he is, the world champion in fine form, and we'll look forward to seeing him tomorrow in the men's singles semi-final. But there we have on screen confirmation of the score, of the situation in the quarter-final, a 4-1 victory for China's Zhang Jike. We'll be back tomorrow for more coverage here at the Werner Schlager Academy in Vienna, Austria, and some superb table tennis to look forward to. See you tomorrow.